All right, so we got a video game review for you people today there. Hey, this time I actually played this video game. So that's pretty good there. So it won't be just Sage there with it. So we're going to be doing a review for Marvel Cosmic Invasion. Now, this is a 2D side-scrolling beat 'em up game there. This is also by the same team who made the TMNT games as well there. By some of those same people. They did Shredder's Revenge, I think was the squad, right?
They worked on the Scott Pilgrim game too from back in like 2011.
Scott Pilgrim game as well, which I was a fan of as well. I like that one. I have not played.
And they got the new one coming out too.
Oh yes, right. They are doing a sequel to that too as well. That we talked about the trailer for that one. And yeah, they also did that one, Shredder's Revenge too. But yeah, I haven't played Shredder's Revenge, but I've played Scott Pilgrim. So that was the other game I played of this. But you said Shredder's Revenge is pretty good.
Oh, I thought it was great.
Okay, nice. And in this right here, this story right here, where you basically got team of heroes, villain, they have to beat up various different enemies on the various different levels to get to the villain in order to win, in order to save the universe, save the world there, much like a traditional superhero story there. And the villain in this game, let me pull up the name of the character. I just want to make sure.
Annihilus.
Annihilus is the villain there.
Yeah, Annihilus is like a classic Fantastic Four villain originally. And there's a big comic book called Annihilation. It was sort of a big event comic that came out at the same time as the original comic book version of Civil War. And if that was everything on Earth, Annihilation was kind of all of the space characters dealing with like another thing all at the same time. It's one of my favorite comic runs. It's actually very, very fun to have this be sort of loosely inspired by that comic.
Nice. And the team of heroes, you get 15 characters. You get Beta Ray Bill, you get Black Panther, Captain America, Cosmic Ghost Rider there. So not regular Ghost Rider, but Cosmic.
Do you know who that is, by the way?
I think you told me when we were playing the game, because me and you, we played it and streamed it there. Yeah. I think you told me it was Frank Castle, right?
Yeah, it's a version of Frank Castle that lived until like past like the like destruction of Earth in like millions of years in the future, and then also became like the Herald of Galactus, and then time traveled kind of back into present day. It's a whole thing.
So you get cool looking design for the character there. For him, and then you also got Iron Man is in this, Nova, Rocket Raccoon, She-Hulk, Spider-Man, Storm, Wolverine, Faye Lavelle there.
Faye Lavelle, she's a daughter to Captain Marvel, like the original Captain Marvel character, and she's also takes on like the mantle of Quasar for a while in the comics. She was the one I was very excited to see her in this, because that's another one of those just kind of obscure characters that I just would not have expected to make it into anything.
Yeah. And you also have Phoenix, Silver Surfer, and Venom there as well. That's the roster you have, and they haven't added anybody else with it. And then you just you start off with initial kind of smaller roster, and then as you go on and progress, you unlock more people. But that's the kind of roster we have. You kind of have just the 15. I'd say one thing about the game, really good attention to detail, especially a lot of the animation stuff. And when they do these kind of, this is the opening of the game that you have. This looks really great. That's incredible. That, immediately kind of introduces you to the personality of the game. And
I want a whole like animated show that looks like that.
Yeah, I mean, this is really good, really kind of gorgeous stuff that they do with that. And I'll show you some footage of the game as well there. But what were kind of your thoughts about the game there?
Well, I mean, I was a huge fan of the X-Men arcade game that they had back then. Now, if you remember that, but this in a lot of ways, just like the TMNT Shredder's Revenge was a sort of sequel to the Shell Turtles in Time like arcade game. I feel like this is sort of a spiritual successor to the X-Men arcade game. I think it does a great job of that. I mean, this game feels like that sort of arcade style just as good as I think as the Shredder's Revenge does. It feels fluid, it's snappy, it's fast. But one thing that's nice about this that I think is maybe even a new addition to these types of games is there is a sort of directional input that they add to like your attacks that almost sort of make it feel like the controls to like Marvel versus Capcom a little bit. So it's like they're adding some of that like directional element that you would expect out of like a fighting game, which I thought was really really cool.
Nice. And this is the gameplay from it right here. There.
That's the Master Mold boss right there.
And then so you can have two characters there, and you can, if you're playing by yourself, you can swap out with each of those characters. Each of those characters has like a special move that you can use there as well.
That's one of the things that's very much like the Marvel versus Capcom fighting game, is being able to swap out and then also have them come in and do like assist attacks too.
Yeah, they can do assist attacks. That's good. Mention that one. They can do that as well there. So that's kind of fun. I think some of the characters I had fun with playing the most with their special like kind of finishers. Cosmic Ghost Rider has a really great one. Silver Surfer has kind of a cool one there.
I thought Phyla Vale was great too.
Phyla Vale, they have a cool one there. So yeah, that kind of works. And then even Iron Man's is actually from Marvel versus Capcom.
It is literally his attack from that game. There's a few characters, Spider-Man's like, and I think and Wolverine's like kind of standby positions are both like that animation basically. It really feels like they wanted to like make the X-Men arcade game kind of play like Marvel versus Capcom.
Yeah. I think the person who has the lamest looking at these is kind of Caps. I mean, it's kind of just
yeah. I mean, you know,
it's kind of the lamest, but it shows you like all these kind of different, the finishers that these characters kind of have here. Like this is hers there, and Storm. So yeah, that was kind of cool there that they added that to it. It's not a. I mean, we played it. I don't think it's particularly very challenging there. I don't think. I mean, it's pretty kind of light. I mean, I know we got stuck on that one at the end, but. I mean,
but you also like level up, and then like your character does actually get stronger too, which is that's definitely something that those old arcade games would not do. So like by the time if you get your characters leveled all the way up, it becomes pretty breezy.
Yeah, so that's the thing too. You could do that as well. Like play the game, kind of get the character leveled up, so it could be easier to fight Annihilus at the very end there. So of course, him being the main boss, of course, he's gonna be a little more difficult than the other bosses that you kind of fight in the game there. But they got some kind of good, like you mentioned, mold master there.
Oh so, yeah,
Master Mold there, which is kind of some throwback kind of villains. So it's not your traditional villains maybe you see all the time, which was also kind of a good thing there.
Yeah, you got Sauron, which is the name of that evil pterodactyl man in the Savage Lands.
Yeah, so some good ones there with that. I would say kind of one of my weak points with it, costume wise, I don't know if they'll add something to it. Not really much there. It's just kind of changing colors mostly for most of them.
Yeah, I agree with you there. There's just so many looks that these characters have had for, some of them for 60, 70 plus years at this point. So yeah, it's too bad that they don't have more variety with that.
Yeah. So for the most part, sometimes they'll do with some characters, they'll do like sometimes a different costume change. I understand with some characters you can't really do that much because like Silver Surfer is kind of like, okay, well, I mean, what else can you really do with him? He's just like a butt naked silver dude. Right. With that,
can make him look like Matthew McConaughey in one of his costumes.
So, I mean, yeah, so it's not really much you can do with him. Storm, they kind of do some stuff because you could do like more like that, and then more they're gonna show her black look there, like that one.
I think Storm and Wolverine might have the most actual like costumes out of anybody.
Because his is like he has this brown one that he has, and then I know he's had like different kind of color shades of like his kind of uniform there with that one. And I think Spider-Man has some other ones too. Let me see what they with Spider-Man.
Well, there's a couple Spider-Man ones.
Like what's all black, which is like his Venom kind of look there.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool. But yeah, that's kind of one of my gripes with the game is that not much variety when it kind of comes to the costumes there with that.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Yeah. Do you have any other kind of gripes with the game yourself, or?
I wish it maybe was just a little bit longer. Just one or two more levels, and it is a type of game that is a short game. Like these are short types of games. But I do feel like the TMNT Shredder's Revenge and that Scott Pilgrim game are I think they're a bit longer. I think they have like a couple more levels. And they'll add some in an expansion as well, or a free update even maybe. But I do wish that I wish there was just maybe just one or two more. That being said, I think the levels that are here are all pretty great. You talk about the that cutscene kind of opening movie, but also just the during gameplay, like environment design is pretty spectacular, and there are some parts that feel like, especially when you go to Asgard with Galactus in the background and you're like traveling over the Rainbow Bridge, it really, really looks like Kirby, like kind of actually looks like Jack Kirby's old art. And I thought that's some of the best that's been captured in like a modern piece of media.
Yeah, let me see if I can pull that one up there. Oh, I forgot. Yeah, I'm just trying to click through to see it, but I forgot you actually do fight this villain as well. What's this guy called again? This guy?
Oh, Null.
No, you do fight
Yeah.
him. Yeah, that's a kind of a fun one there. You get to fight that. So some interesting villains there.
This
I'm trying to think of.
hot topic hidey hole in space.
Yeah, I'm trying to show you Asgard here. I think is that Asgard right there? Let me
No,
see.
this is Thanos' ship Sanctuary too.
Okay.
I
Um,
know it's somewhere near the end, but yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, good level design, I think, with it. Like you to your point there, they do with that. That really works. So again, it seems like people who did care about it, attention to detail, people who do, obviously, care about the comics and getting that from obviously people who are probably playing this game is probably going to be mostly people who are fans of these characters and of the comics. So they do get that attention to detail right there. I don't know how well it's doing selling wise. I don't think I've seen those numbers there.
I don't feel like I've seen it. I've seen like the kind of hardcore fan base for these types of games talking about it, but I don't know if I've seen people talking about it in general as much.
Yeah. And this game costs $30. So it's available on pretty much all platforms there. So you can get it on PlayStation 5, you can get it on Switch there as well there. You can get it on Windows as well there, Xbox Series X and S there. We ended up playing on the PlayStation 5
Yep.
there. I also have it on Switch. I played it a little bit on the Switch. I mean, this is not a high performing, game, that you have to play on a high end thing to really play a good quality on. But
You
yeah,
probably
so
get the same quality performance no matter what thing you play it on.
yeah, for the most part there. So it's like you don't have to worry about that too much. I think it's, so the digital edition is 30. I think if you want the physical, it's 40. I think it's
Sure.
more with that. Do you think 30 is worth it for this?
I mean, I think I like so much of the time it will somewhat depend on just what type of fan you are. Are you like a especially big fan of arcade beat 'em ups? I think it's worth it if it's like really your go-to genre or it's a genre you really love. If it's something you're more casually interested in, I could see a good argument for maybe a sale for like maybe 20.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, I paid the 30. I don't think it's worth 30. I had fun with it. I enjoyed it. I liked it. And, I think it's good also if you play it maybe with somebody else, to have a team and you
Yeah,
go
and
in there.
if you could do 4 players, especially, I'm sure that adds a lot.
Yeah, but then you would finish the game probably a lot quicker,
That too.
if you if you did have that, because I think the length of this game is only about, like, 3 hours,
Yeah.
supposedly, I think, and I don't know if that's just playing by yourself or playing with another player. I think that probably cuts it down maybe, like, an hour or so.
And
Um,
to be fair, I mean that is normal for the arcade style of game that it is trying to be. Um, so like I said, I think if you're a big fan of that type of thing, like that's really like the kinds of games you're always looking for, I think it's worth it then.
okay. So, I guess if you're a big fan of beat 'em ups, they'll have no problem paying for the $30.
Because you
Okay.
probably are going to play it over and over again because that is how those arcade games are designed to begin with.
True, yeah, and I could see myself playing it again if I was, like, on a plane or something like that. I'd probably play it on my Switch or something and play it there, so I could see that the replay value of it is probably pretty strong. Is there any rumors that they're gonna add more content to the game, any more levels, any more
I haven't
characters?
heard anything, but they did add stuff to the Shredder's Revenge game. Like they did do a few pieces of DLC for that, so I
Okay,
think it's likely.
gotcha. So what'll be your final thoughts, rating for Marvel Cosmic Invasion?
Yeah, at the end of the day, I think I'd give it just like a solid regular tune in. It's not like mind blowing. It's not. going to be, I think, like and it's not going to be like in like your top 10 probably. But I think it's a lot of fun. It depends again. Do you like this type of game? Is this like something you are like really, really into? Because older family members of mine that like actually like would go to the arcade and play that X-Men game as like that's what I did in my off time. Those people like that, they're like probably on their 100th like run of this, right, by this
Mm,
point. So it's really just like what if you're really into the style, I think it's going to serve you well. If you were just into like the Marvel brand, yeah, I'd say maybe wait for a sale.
mm. Okay. So just a regular tune in. I'd give it like a high stream it. There in this context, because usually I do use this rating scale for movies. So I think a high stream it in this context in reference to the video game. Like if it is on like one of a service like PlayStation, like their PlayStation
Mm.
Plus, kind of extra thing there. And this was like, okay, you could play it for like a month or so. I'd say you could pick it up and try it out and see if it's for you. I think it's good for that. And if you wanted to buy it, I'd say maybe wait there until it's slashed a little bit. Maybe, yeah, I mean, you probably won't pick it up on Nintendo because they rarely ever do deals, but maybe you
Third
want to pick.
party games will go on sale on there, just never their own.
Okay, so the third party games, maybe you have a chance. Like if it goes to 20 or 15, I think that's a better price for it there. Like I said, because of how short it is there with it, but you might get it, like you said, all that replay value in it that might be valuable to people within and of itself. Um, so yeah, I'll just kind of give it a kind of high stream it for me. So a tune in from you and a high stream it for me for Marvel Cosmic Invasion.